Stugotz here for 1-800-Flowers. Being a mom is like 1,000 little jobs all wrapped into one amazing responsibility. I know this from watching my own wife, how crazy it is, switching back and forth from trauma nurse to afternoon mathematician, from organizer-in-chief to five-star chef. This Mother's Day, show her how much you appreciate every job she does with this special limited-time offer from 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, when you get ahead of the Mother's Day rush, 1-800-Flowers will give you an exclusive 36 for 36 offer, 36 sorbet roses for just $36. That's only $1 per rose. With an impressive mix of pastel shades in pink, orange, and lavender, these roses are guaranteed to make her smile. Stunning sorbet roses are the perfect way to surprise all the moms in your life. Wife, aunt, sister, mother. These breathtaking roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. 36 sorbet roses for only $36 is an amazing offer, but you need to hurry because it expires Friday. Just pick your delivery date and 1-800-Flowers will handle the rest. Don't put this off, guys. I'm telling you, order today from 1-800-Flowers.com. It's what mom would want you to do. To order 36 sorbet roses for only $36, simple. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code Dan. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code Dan. Hurry. Offer ends on Friday.
Great news. There's a quick way you can save money. Switch to Geico. Geico could help you get great coverage at a great price. And it only takes 15 minutes to see if you could save 15% or more on car insurance. Go to geico.com today and see how much you could save.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
We got fire up in here today. First, we've got a reenactment of Bryant Gumbel versus Derek Jeter, HBO Real Sports. We'll do that in a second. Stugotz says he has every Twitter page up.
Oh.
NFL draft.
Yes.
Stuff going on. We need to get Mina Kimes around here to challenge for the throne of Mel Kiper and Todd McShay.
I have 5 Twitter windows open right now. Schefter, McShay, Kiper, all the people that you want, like all the people who have the information this week. I am following you right now, and only you. Okay. That is it.
That's it. Mike Ryan is reported during the break that Sam Darnold is a future weight problem. Put it on the poll, please, Guillermo. Is Sam Darnold one off season away from a weight problem? Where he, too, like Ben Roethlisberger, will look bloated and run like a tall building would. Am I wrong?
No, I just never thought of it like that.
It's just his legs. Yes. There's nothing else moving.
Yes. No.
When Ben Roethlisberger scrambles out of the pocket, it has no scramble to it. It's just a skyscraper moving.
It's perfect.
Trying to move quickly.
Yeah.
It's also like he's just way too erect.
He's like one of those sausage races.
What?
He looks like one of the sausage race people.
That's correct.
Oh, yeah.
Before we get to any of this, though, and Mike Ryan and I failed blatantly during the local hour of our show that precedes this one, all of our Heat analysis failed to remember that Chris Bosh was supposed to be playing for this team somewhere in this.
Oh, yeah.
And any blueprint construction that you make,
he would have made a difference.
Yeah, and we kind of forgot that in our analysis, so let's move on.
All right.
Speaking of Bryant Gumbel, I don't have my glasses on.
Oh, man, here, you want them?
Yeah.
Here, you want to try that again?
Right. Yes.
Where do you want to pick it up from? You want to do the whole exchange with Mike?
Yeah, can we start, where do we start over?
Yeah, the Chris Bosh blueprint.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Man, he would have been fun to have this series.
Not a good thing to forget. Oh, no, I blew it. Let's try it again.
Okay.
All right. Is there a fine here somewhere?
3,
No.
2, 1.
God, I wish we had Bosh this series.
How could we forget that? Bosh, he's important to the blueprint. We really blew that one. Let's move on.
Smooth.
Gumbel's better at that.
Yeah. A lot better.
Stugotz was.
He also doesn't have a hat with a Muppet on it to impede the glasses from coming off.
Well,
smoothly.
the glasses are foggy. There's a headset. It wasn't quite as television smooth as Bryant Gumbel.
You also need to kind of put the leg in your mouth after you take it out and go like,
yeah.
Okay.
Chew on it, a little bit.
Let's move on.
Ooh, better.
Better.
No, I'm not going to lie to you. That was worse.
That was worse. That was erotic. Anyway, Before we get to the reenactment of Derek Jeter versus Brian Gumbel on HBO Real Sports, Stugotz is on Twitter here. I've seen him. I'm watching him as all of his Twitter windows are open because he wants draft information. I'm also watching him. And look at what he's typing. He's typing replies to people on Twitter while we're doing the show instead of doing the show. Who are you feuding with on Twitter? Who are you making fun of on Twitter? What's happening with you right now as we try to do a radio show in real time and you're distracted on Twitter?
I'm about to be feuding with a guy named Aaron Nagler, who is a very credible reporter for the Green Bay Packers, but he tweets out, I am often asked about breaking into the business of covering the NFL, to which I can only respond, do the opposite of what I did. Suck up to agents and give unrelenting hot takes. No matter how insipid or stupid, follow that path and untold riches await you. Shh. Jeez, Nagler. Come on, man.
Is that so you were telling him? What were you doing? You were DMing him to back off? Nagler, don't tell anybody the Stugotz secrets.
I am, no DMs, because I am furious right now with Nagler. I am putting it out there for everyone to see, the world to see. I'm simply responding, shh.
Okay, well, he put it out there for the world.
Well, now I'm responding. I don't give away the trade secrets, man.
What you're doing seems counterintuitive.
What should I do? And what does that mean?
All right, so let's go to this reenactment.
So don't do it?
Brian Gumbel versus Derek Jeter. And if you're just joining us, we were talking about this HBO Real Sports interview that read in print like it was contentious, okay? So if any of you are new to this story, understand that you're going to be hearing this the way that I read it in the newspaper. I was unfamiliar with what the information was, and I was surprised that Derek Jeter, in front of television cameras with Brian Gumbel, always polished, always image conscious, was getting into a contentious interview in which they said mean things to each other. And so that's how I'm reading this. And so this is how it's playing out in my mind. HBO Real Sports would not give us the sound. We do not have, this is an artist's reenactment of what was happening in my mind. This is Brian Gumbel versus Derek Jeter. As I read it, it's going to air tomorrow night, HBO Real Sports, but as I read it in the newspaper.
I'll just for clarification, I'll be playing the role of Brian Gumbel and Chris will be Derek Jeter.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. But from now on, I don't want to hear from you as Billy or Guillermo. You are Brian Gumbel for the remainder of this contentious thought in my mind.
If you were tanking, would you tell me?
Tanking? Tanking?
Tanking is not trying your hardest to win ball games in every day.
We're trying to win ball games every day.
If you trade your best players in exchange for prospects, it's unlikely you're going to win more games in the immediate future.
When you take the field, you have an opportunity to win each and every day. I repeat, each and every day. You never tell your team that you're not expected to win. Never.
Not in so.
What?
Now you think. Now. I can't tell you how to think. Like, I see your mind. I see how you think. I don't like that. That's your mind working like that.
No, I get that, but I guess not in so many words.
But you don't.
I
get it. You don't. We have two different minds. I can't wait to get you on the golf course, man. I mean, I cannot wait for this one.
No, I mean,
you're mentally weak.
No, I am realistic. You really expect this team?
I expect this team to,
as presently configured, to
compete. To compete.
Compete is one thing.
Every single.
Watch my lips. Not compete.
I see your.
Content.
I see your lips. I've been seeing him the whole interview. I see your lips moving constantly. You'd never tell your players that you expect to lose. You don't do that. You should take that as a slap in the face as a player. You should take that as a slap in the face.
You expect them to contend?
I do. If I don't believe with the players, who's going to believe in them if I don't?
But as an executive, it looks like you're delusional.
Well,
if you'll believe otherwise.
Well, call me delusional then.
Well done.
Guillermo, you were Pacino in the last 20 years. At the end, you just started screaming. But an excellent artist's reenactment. That is how it happened in my head. It was Brian Gumbel and Derek Jeter chest to chest yelling at each other about semantics. But can you guys do that the more gentle way, the way it actually played out, the way that HBO Real Sports will put it out in print but won't allow us to have the sound?
You want another option?
Yes.
I'll give you
please.
another one.
Thank you. Thank you. That's very kind of you guys. So you guys have a totally different reenactment. Okay, what do I need to get you guys, though? Do I need... Oh, okay. You're just going to be draped on one another. Okay, you're very close. Yeah,
very close. The breath must be...
you got your arms around each other, and Guillermo's moving his face away because I think he fears your scalding hot coffee breath.
A little less.
If you were tanking, would you tell me?
Tanking? What is... No. Tanking?
Tanking is not trying your hardest to win ball games in every day.
Listen, we're trying to win ball games every day.
If you trade your best players in exchange for prospects, it's unlikely you're going to win more games in the immediate future.
Let me help you out. When you take the field, you have an opportunity to win each and every day. Each and every day. You never tell your team you're not expected to win. Never.
Not in so...
Now you can think. No. I can tell how you think. I see your mind. I see the
Same character, man.
That's your mind working like that.
No, I get that, but I guess not in so many words.
But you don't get it. You don't.
I do.
You don't. We have two different mindsets. I cannot wait to get you on the golf course, man. I mean, I can't wait for this one.
Whoa!
No, I mean...
You're being mentally weak.
No, I'm realistic. You really expect this team?
I expect this team to...
As presently configured to contend?
Just compete. To compete.
Compete is one thing.
Every single...
Watch my lips. Not compete.
I see your...
Contend.
I see your lips. I see. I've been seeing them this whole interview. You'd never...
Let's just go to commercial there.
Hi, everyone. Stugotz here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you are confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you the same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you are getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz. That's rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz, STUGOTZ. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Dan Le Batard.
He is someone who will tell it like it is, and it doesn't matter if telling it like it is stupid.
Stugotz.
We're taking you on a one-way trip to Flavortown.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
As the sensibilities of sports fans change and a new generation moves in, Stugotz, some of the old sports broadcasters are shuffling off into silence, or in the case of Brent Musburger, debauchery in a Las Vegas. In or around a Las Vegas brothel.
Brent has arrived where he's always wanted to be. It took him, it was a long road to get there.
Right, but what I'm saying is all these guys are leaving, right? Bob Costas is going to be doing less. Vin Scully just retired. Al Michaels is going to be doing less. John Madden is gone. John Gruden is gone. There aren't really elder statesmen of broadcasting anymore. Bryant Gumbel, I'm curious what the audience thinks of him, because I've always admired and respected his work. He has tried to do good journalism and has done good journalism for a long time. He's been on television for a long time. Hell, there was a Super Bowl commercial making fun of him, and I think it was Katie Couric sort of looking at a computer and making fun of, what is this internet thing?
Yes. Recent commercial, yeah.
And I've asked Bryant Gumbel to come on with us here in the next couple of days because the things going on with the Marlins are something that I care about. And Bryant Gumbel came down here to do journalism. And I don't know if he did journalism or if he did golfing with Jeter. We'll find out tomorrow night. But Bryant Gumbel has been doing good journalism for a long time. And what I'm wondering is, do young people know that? Is that something Bryant Gumbel, HBO Real Sports, has been doing some of the best sports journalism we've seen over the last 15 or 20 years. And I'm asking you, do young people know the work that Bryant Gumbel has put in and is still putting in?
I don't think all young people know. I don't think all young people care. I do think there is certainly a percentage of young people who think he's great, who care about that kind of journalism, but I would say the majority don't.
I wonder, because what I'm telling you, when I look at Bryant Gumbel, I see esteemed journalist, someone who cares. That's what I see. I see an elder statesman who has represented the industry very well. But I don't know if young people just look at him and say television foof, television clown. I don't know. how it is that you guys view Bryant Gumbel. He doesn't do much stuff like this where you see him interviewed everywhere. He's been famous for a long time.
Also, young people, not the audience Real Sports is going for. When young people steal HBO Go logins, they're doing so for Game of Thrones.
Right.
I don't really see them getting around to Real Sports, and I don't really see Real Sports reaching out to that type of viewer.
Someone text in, Dan, we just don't care.
About which part, though?
About Gumbel.
Okay, but you don't care about
and journalism.
Okay, you don't care about Gumbel. You don't care about journalism. You don't care about the Marlins. You don't care about baseball. We'll stay right here. Because I want to talk about what HBO Real Sports is doing tomorrow night. Now, they wanted to interview me for that piece, and ESPN said, nope, you're not doing that. They don't say no very often on stuff like that. Nope, you're not doing that. Because I already got into a mess with baseball and Manfred, and baseball and ESPN have a partnership that complicates things in ways that are crazy, because football and baseball are being paid a lot of money by this network, and we are trying to also cover baseball and football in ways that are critical. So that becomes a constant journalistic navigation. And if HBO Real Sports is sniffing around this garbage the Marlins have been pulling off here for a while, I want to know what becomes of that. HBO Real Sports won't give us the sound for whatever the reason is. So we don't have access to any of the information, but I want you to have the information so you can see what kind of clown show sometimes baseball can be and how South Florida is the one that keeps getting bleeped over and over again in this exchange. But that's the reason I'm asking you about Bryant Gumbel, because once upon a time in sports journalism, and media has changed a lot, Bryant Gumbel comes to your town to do the story on your team. You don't want that. You don't want the questions that come with that out in front of the light. Bryant Gumbel's not here to do a profile on Derek Jeter, I don't think.
No.
Everything around this Marlins franchise smells foul. It smells like when you look at the lawsuits, you would say if you read lawsuits, it sounds corrupt.
But Dan, here's where we've arrived, and I think especially the younger portion of the audience is we don't need Bryant Gumbel to tell us that Derek Jeter is tanking. We don't need Bryant Gumbel to tell us that what's going on down here in the city of Miami is corrupted. They just need, it could be anyone. It could be me. It could be Roy. It could be Chris. It could be Billy. We all know what Derek Jeter is doing. He's tanking, and we all know how he's going to answer that question. Okay. He's not going to.
All right, but this is the difference between me and you and journalism and you and this argument that you're having with this person. Who is this person that you are arguing with on Twitter? Because you have your hot take. I don't need any questions to say that Derek Jeter is morally bankrupt and corrupt and that they're tanking. And what I'm saying to you is that journalistically, we need people to still ask those questions. And it becomes hard when ESPN has bought everything in sports, and it becomes hard when those partnerships are with baseball and football, you paying them millions, them making millions, and then you get the situation where your content ends up being in bed with the people you're covering in a way that gets playmakers killed. And whatever the NPR, whatever the hell that scandal was, where we were in doing a concussions report and then we weren't out of nowhere. We were doing a concussions report. And so I still care about that stuff. But if you're telling me to go to hell, I'll say hi to Art Browse when I get there.
All right.
Splash!
I want to be clear. I'm not telling you to go to hell. Young people are. I'm old, man. I'm just telling you what they're saying on the text.
Okay, but what are they telling me to go to hell about?
We don't need Bryant Gumbel to validate things that we already know. We just don't need it, and that he's annoying. That's what they're saying.
No, but that's not okay. But I'm not asking Bryant Gumbel to validate things you already know. I'm asking somebody to ask people in power difficult questions.
I'm just telling you what the people are saying. Okay, not my words, the people's words. But I speak on behalf of the people, and they're saying boring, don't need him, and he's annoying.
Okay, and the people are. This is the core.
The people, though.
This is the core dispute that you're having with this guy on Twitter. It's now coming between me and you. You're saying, Dan, I know what I know, and it pays. And I'm saying, journalism, used to be something different than what we're looking at right now.
Don Le Batard.
It's an opinion question. I gave you my answer.
Okay, but you're wrong.
Oh.
Stugotz.
I don't respect your opinion.
Okay.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Get the feeling of being rewarded with gold status at Shell with the Fuel Rewards program. Download the Fuel Rewards app. Join and start saving 5 cents a gallon today. Here's your Sports Center update. White Sox reliever Danny Farquhar had brain surgery to relieve swelling in his skull from brain hemorrhaging. It was revealed after the Flyer series ending loss to the Penguins that Sean Courtier scored his 3 goals and 2 assists in Game 6 on a torn MCL. Hockey player.
That's sport, man.
It's a hockey player. And finally, according to the Honolulu Star-Advertiser, 20-year-old Dylan McWilliams of Colorado was bitten by a shark Thursday while swimming off the island of Kauai, like Leonard. He suffered several cuts to his leg. McWilliams said he believes a tiger shark bit him. This was not McWilliams' first painful bite from a wild animal. In fact, it was his third. Last July, he was attacked by a bear in Colorado. The bear bit his skull, grabbed his head, and dragged him about 12 feet from where he was sleeping. The Advertiser, reported McWilliams was also bitten by a rattlesnake while hiking in Utah about 3.5 years ago.
Allison, get him on the phone.
Kidding me? Amazing. 3 goals, 2 assists with a torn MCL. Think about that. Being a mom is like 1,000 little jobs all wrapped into one. This Mother's Day, show her your appreciation with 36 sorbet roses for $36. That's such a great deal. Only from our friends at 1-800-Flowers.com. To order, it's simple. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code Dan. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Mike, you have a musical ear. The way Stugotz just said 4 when he was reading there, 4, he put the R before the O, and there's some U in there. That's got some music written all over it.
Where was that?
It's funny.
Where did I do that?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, I know where I did it. Yeah.
It'll be funny musically in a segment from now.
Okay.
So nobody wants to talk about journalism, Stugotz, so we will move on to other things. I want to now wage war against the University of Central Florida. I mean, they're sitting here doing all this national championship stuff, and there is a little Stugotz in me. We could have done this for you so much bigger and better, and you wouldn't allow it because your school bureaucracy got in the way of fun and exciting. For those of you who do not know, this show rather inexplicably threw its Le Batardian weight behind UCF at the end. And it was a lot of weight.
Yeah, that's some inertia going.
Yeah.
We threw some weight at it. We made calls. We're talking to administrators. We're telling them yes, yes, yes. On budget, ESPN is like, we want to do this.
We were going to steal a bus.
Yes, yes, you remember that. It really did escalate, and all the things were in place, and then we get to the school, and it's like...
we never actually got to the school.
No, I didn't mean physically get to the school. I mean we had everything in place to help them make this a big and legitimate controversy, and instead they went another route.
What route? I mean,
they went to the route of they gave their players rings this weekend. There was they had a celebration, and when I saw the crowd, I'm like, oh, they deserve a crowd.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the photos, and there's nobody in the crowd, and I'm like, you could have avoided that if you just let ESPN get behind it. And It was just an administrative clown show.
Plus, you're pretty far removed from the actual, the thing happening. But yes, if you had ESPN and the show behind you with some promotion, perhaps those kids would have gotten what they deserved.
That's
which
right.
Was a crowd.
That's right. First of all, I'm surprised. The NCAA is going to rain down and take those rings, right? The NCAA is going to say those rings, that players aren't allowed to get rings.
Oh, why?
I don't know, because it seems like something that's impermissible. It seems like you can't just give players jewelry.
You can if you win a national championship.
But they didn't win the national championship.
No, they did.
They did, though. Yeah,
they did.
Thing. Yeah.
Say they didn't.
Yeah.
It says it on their stadium.
It says on their stadium. It says it on police cruisers.
All right, Guillermo, can you help me with the reporting from this? Were there people there? Because the crowd shots I was seeing was like, no, this is not the way you do this. You could have made this so much larger.
I mean, it's also like their 27th celebration.
I know, but they didn't do the one big one that we could have helped them with. They did their own, but they didn't take our T-shirts.
I mean, they did one like huge. Well, they did a couple.
We
huge
printed
ones.
5,000. Was it 5,000 T-shirts, Mike?
Oh yeah, there was a line like that stretched 2 blocks. We got rid of all those shirts somehow. It was
Really?
amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, we saved a box, but we could have clearly gotten rid of all of them. I thought it was going to be a huge issue. The only thing that's been hard to move has been this cumbersome trophy. Yeah.
I saw you trying to give it to Josh Norman when he was here. Hey, Josh, you're great. This is a trophy for being Josh Norman.
It didn't really make sense. I was hoping that we could see the Griffin twins at some point and just give it to them, and then it's their problem.
Right.
I don't know what to do with it.
How heavy is that thing?
It's very heavy.
What is that made out of? Is that gold bricks?
This is tungsten, which is the strongest metal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. This is a marble finish.
Wait a minute. How do you know that? Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Did you know that tungsten was the strongest metal? How did you know that? How did you know any of
Are
that?
you just taking Mike's word for it?
With caution.
How much do you think we could get if we auction that thing? Or pawned it?
Well, what would we do with the money?
If we're better off pawning it. Because
hypothetically, if we
Oh, no.
auctioned
You
it.
guys are so wrong. Somebody would totally buy that. If we put that, man, you know how much support this show has right now? If you put that on eBay, I think somebody paid, Stugotz, somebody paid tens of thousands of dollars to drink with me and Stugotz at a Heat game.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. We didn't watch the game.
Not to us. Yeah. I didn't get any of that. That was it was to charity.
And also meet us.
Yeah, they met us. Yeah, they shook their hands and everything. Yeah.
Meet us. In fact,
that doesn't work the way that I'm framing this.
According to MetalSupermarkets.com, tungsten is indeed one of the 4 strongest metals out there.
Whoa, you do not say that you are not informed. You got Mike Ryan, the science guy.
There are 3 others on that list, just so you know. Steel, titanium, and inconel. No idea if I'm saying that right, but listen, this is the definitive list.
Yeah, put that on the poll. Is Stugotz saying
strongest
that right?
metals.
Is Stugotz saying that right?
I mean, it's the metal supermarket, man. They're an authority, and I'm not saying it.
How much does that thing weigh, Mike? We could get money for that.
This thing weighs 250 pounds.
All right. So what should we do when we put it on eBay and auction it? That money that we raise, how can we feud with either ESPN or UCF? Who can we feud with? I just want to take that money and feud with somebody.
I'm not sure what you can feud with, what you can fund with $27.
Yeah.
You guys don't think that would sell for anything?
Money.
Can we test it?
It must cost just to ship this thing alone.
Wait, hold on.
We're going to fake auction to test it? That's not how it works.
No. Wait, well, how does it work? Explain to us how it works. Can you put something on there, and if someone makes an offer, can you reject the offer?
This is what I want to know as we have our show meeting on the air.
Because if they don't have a site like that, they should.
This is what I want to know. Are we allowed to put that on the internet and raise money for it in some sort of credible way? Do we have to ask permission from somebody at ESPN to do this?
Yeah, that's definite. And keep in mind, I am planning on opening up a brick and mortar museum at some point, and this would be a mighty fine centerpiece.
Are you trying to push me off this? Is there a way that we can do this? Is there a way that we could get permission to sell that thing on the internet to show UCF what they missed out on when that raises a stupid amount of money?
Sell
Man,
it for
do
profit?
you not remember when Flembrandt was on the street selling art that Guillermo had drawn up the night before? He went on the street.
Whoa. Hey.
Lost the line, man.
And the V Foundation thanks you because that's where the proceeds went.
They're welcome. My pleasure.
5 cents, 10 cents,
Flembrandt.
$1.
All right, but why can't we do this right now? Tell me that we can get permission through the Jimmy V Foundation. Any amount bid will go to the Jimmy V Foundation, that we could get that on the interwebs and have people bidding on it like next segment, beginning next segment.
No, that's not how red tape works.
No, come on, Mike.
Red tape, next segment is difficult. Give me a little bit.
Okay. But I don't want this to fiddle away like the UCF thing did. Like,
do you realize how long Pablo and Bomani have had a unnamed show?
Yeah.
It's been 3 years.
Yeah.
And you want me to get a V Foundation auction off the ground in 10 minutes.
Is that why they have me dating co-hosts on television? Because Bomani left for a TV show that was going to start soon? I've dated everyone in the industry on television.
It's brick and mortar.
Didn't I say that?
I'm a whore.
Said motor.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like a whole new person.
Disclaimer, you will not become a whole new person. This is impossible. You might be able to join a gym or diet program, buy a new wardrobe, get hair implants, but your DNA and physical form will remain the same. Geico waives any and all liability if you attempt to become a new person, except a cyborg. If you choose to become a half-human, half-cybernetic organism with lasers for eyes, the Geico legal team would be cool with that, because, quote, laser eyes are pretty sweet. Pew, 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 end quote.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Don Batard.
Finally, Jane's Addiction frontman, Perry Farrell.
Stugotz.
Perry Farrell. Farrell. Perry Farrell.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We missed a joke during the break there. We really did, in trying to talk about precious metals. We missed the joke of getting the analysis, obviously, from our singular metal expert.
Tungsten definitely the strongest metal. Unless you couple in comic books, then you go in adamantium or vibranium. Although vibranium is kind of amorphous, it does a lot of things. Can be a metal or the linchpin of all your technology.
I was thinking, Mike, should we send the characters at any point to the therapy couch? Now, we run kind of an amateur operation around here. In that, like, we're sharing cots with the Clevelander Hotel, and they just took our therapy couch. Like, it's fairly amazing, honestly. For the most powerful, what?
They didn't take our therapy couch. They took their cot back. Because this is a hotel and people need it.
But I'm saying, what kind of operation are we running around here that they take our stuff in the middle of the night because a guest in one of the hotels wants it?
Again, it's not our stuff. It's their stuff.
But anyone who stays here, no one staying here sleeps.
Well, that's the other thing. They're snorting things off that cot. Why are we using a cot as a therapy couch that has had things snorted off of it?
Well, because you did this thing where you're like, get me a couch next segment, and we work at a hotel, so that was the best option.
Again, with the bureaucracy now, we've got to go through all sorts of channels to buy a couch.
Yes, because someone has to pay for said couch.
But what you pay for said couch is...
Said couch is not in said budget.
Nope.
Also, our therapy couch lived in the home of Around the Horn, so every day it has to be folded up and moved out of the way.
That's the other thing. Do people have any idea how much content is coming out of this closet we work in? Does anyone at Disney know what we're doing? We work at a bar. Everyone is not wearing any clothes. Very often, marijuana wafts through the studio from whatever it is that's going on near the pool.
Happened this morning.
I mean...
Wake and bake.
Right? Disney doesn't know this is happening, right?
They do now.
Probably not. Because otherwise, Disney would give us a damn cot. You think Disney has...
Stugotz here for 1-800-Flowers. Being a mom is like 1,000 little jobs all wrapped into one amazing responsibility. I know this from watching my own wife, how crazy it is, switching back and forth from trauma nurse to afternoon mathematician, from organizer-in-chief to five-star chef. This Mother's Day, show her how much you appreciate every job she does with this special limited-time offer from 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, when you get ahead of the Mother's Day rush, 1-800-Flowers will give you an exclusive 36 for 36 offer. 36 sorbet roses for just $36. That's only $1 per rose. With an impressive mix of pastel shades in pink, orange, and lavender, these roses are guaranteed to make her smile. Stunning sorbet roses are the perfect way to surprise all the moms in your life. Wife, aunt, sister, mother. These breathtaking roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. 36 sorbet roses for only $36 is an amazing offer, but you need to hurry because it expires Friday. Just pick your delivery date and 1-800-Flowers will handle the rest. Don't put this off, guys. I'm telling you, order today from 1-800-Flowers.com. It's what Mom would want you to do. To order 36 sorbet roses for only $36, simple. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code Dan. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code Dan. Hurry. Offer ends on Friday.
Great news. There's a quick way you can save money. Switch to Geico. Geico could help you get great coverage at a great price. And it only takes 15 minutes to see if you could save 15% or more on car insurance. Go to geico.com today and see how much you could save.
Don Le Batard.
Give us as much as you can here. Take us up to the dramatic first pitch, Billy.
Jose Urena standing at the back of the mound. He reaches down. He's rubbing some dirt and rosin on his hands. And here we go.
Stugotz.
And the pitch. Oh, God, a home run on the first pitch of the game. Oh, my God.
Welcome, Derek Jeter. And that concludes our Marlins coverage for the season.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We love the NBA playoffs around here, and we are now engaged. I botched a couple of interviews last week with Zach Lowe and Arnovitz because I haven't been interested in the first round, but we will correct that going forward, and Jay Williams is about to join us in part to correct that.
This has been the best first round in the history of the NBA playoffs.
You do that every year, Stugotz.
Well, but this year, I'm serious.
All right, I do want to make fun of all of we analysts who picked the Trailblazers to beat the Pelicans. There were 22 of you out there at the network making predictions. All 22 of you got that series wrong, and not just wrong, a sweep in the other direction. It couldn't have been more wrong. So we'll get to Jay Williams in a second, and he's doing a documentary and a docuseries with LeBron James. Jay Williams has led an incredibly interesting life. But before we get to the serious basketball analysis, Stugotz, I feel like in your home talking to your wife yesterday was the correct analysis of Cavs Pacers. And this was the conversation that Stugotz and his wife were having during the game.
Yeah, because the Pacers were kind of up there late in the third quarter. Then it got to the fourth quarter. My wife got interested, so she sat down and watched the fourth quarter with me. And I said, hey, who do you think's going to win here? She just kept saying LeBron. Not Cavs, just LeBron. Then Bogdanovich hit a big three, and there was a fist pump. And I wanted to see if my wife was wavering at all. So I said, Abby, who do you think's going to win here? Who would you rather be? She said, maybe the Pacers.
Oh, what?
And Abby, stay the course.
Stay strong.
Because the Pacers coach would rather be the Cavs than the Pacers.
That is correct.
Because of that guy.
Yes, put it on the poll, Guillermo. When Bogdanovich hit that three, would the Pacers coach would have rather been on the Cavs bench?
And then she said, who is the Pacers coach? I said, I have no idea. I said Frank Vogel, and then I realized he was just fired from Orlando. Anyway, I was right, and she said, listen, I will never question you again. I'll never question him again. Right. I said, no, you can question him when they play Golden State.
Okay, but that's the only time.
That's the only time.
Man, let me explain something to you. We are going to have one hell of a time explaining to our grandchildren how the hell LeBron lost 6 times in the final. Good luck with that one. I'm telling you, it's a future problem you're not going to be able to explain. It's going to be like, wait, Wilt won 1? Why? What? Why?
I'll just tell the grandkids he's a choker.
All right, that's right. Jay Williams with us on ESPN Radio, and thank you for being patient with us. Jay, what Stugotz just did there, is that the analysis in the East? Will it suffice?
Pretty much. I mean, look, I'm getting married, guys, on May 3rd. I'm making the plunge.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. You have that to look forward to.
Yes, Stu. I don't know if you sound too happy about that, Stu. I kind of feel like I'm a little bit worried in your voice here. Am I making the right decision? Am I making a mistake? Talk to me through this.
Well, I'm happy for you for the honeymoon phase, because that phase is always a good phase. It's after you have exited the honeymoon phase where I'm concerned for you, Jay. I got to be honest.
So when does that start? Is that like 2 years? Is that 3 years in? Like, when does it start to get real?
So it probably already started, right? You're in that honeymoon phase now. Then you'll get married. You'll go on the actual honeymoon. That should last for about 1.5 years, and then it's all downhill from there.
Hold on a second. Can we do this, please? Because you got this documentary, and we've got the NBA playoffs, and I want to get to your beef with Jalen Rose from your rookie year. But I think I do like the idea better of Stugotz giving marital advice to somebody who's about to get married. So can we do that for 5 minutes?
Sure.
I would love that. That sounds great.
All right, what advice you looking for here, Jay? What else can I help you with? Because I'm telling you, like 1.5 years in, then it just gets down to you and her, Jay. And can you have that? Will she be accepting of the Jay Williams that I know, that we all know, that we love? And she knows, will she be accepting of that and patient with that for the remainder of time? And that's the big question, and you won't know until, after about a year and a half time. And I'm telling you, she probably won't, Jay. Anyway, go ahead. What advice do you have? Yeah.
I mean, I'm not patient with myself. So how about this? How about some foundational questions here? Like, when will I ever be right? Will I ever be right in our relationship, or can I expect to live a life of always being wrong?
No, you'll always be wrong. And even when you come with gifts, meaning you're in an argument and you're trying to buy yourself a right, it's still not going to work. She'll take the gifts. She'll say thank you. There might be, a little loving later on that evening, but you'll still be wrong. So the answer to that question is you'll never be right again, ever, about anything.
Okay, and then how about creating sexy time? Like, how do you go about creating sexy time? Does that eventually fade? Like, how does it... Like, is it romance? Like, do you need to always make extra effort, or does eventually things just not work for if you keep using the same old tricks?
So in the honeymoon phase, sexy time will be any time you want, okay? When that phase is over, just Sunday nights. And really what I do is I just shave. That's it. I shave, I make a little dinner, and then Sunday nights, man, it is from 8 to 8:05, it is just unbelievable, Jay. Lit. Yeah, it is lit. And listen, 2 of those 3 minutes is the sandwich and the cigarette. But I'm telling you, 8 to 8:05 is fantastic. And Jay, I'm telling you, listen, at some point in this relationship, she just want to get through it. That's it. Jay, you're going to want her forever, okay? She's going to be sexy. At some point, you will cease to be sexy to her, and she just wants to get through it, man.
Wait, Stu, can we go back to it? Shave. Are we talking about entire body shave? Like a presentation?
But wait, Jay, you look much better than Stugotz does.
Oh, it's debatable. But anyway, now, Jay, what I'm saying is, no, I just shaved the face.
Debatable?
She doesn't like the facial hair. She hates it because it scratches her face. And so I'm just telling you, shave. That's it. That's all I'm telling you. And that is debatable.
Okay.
That's debatable. I'm a good-looking guy.
Stu, I thought you like the flavor saver. Is that what you call it?
What is it?
The flavor saver.
What is that?
Okay, I'm uncomfortable now.
All right, yeah. Things just made an awkward turn. Okay, let's bring it back to playoffs.
Yeah.
Is that all you got? Are you going to give him any more information? Are you going to give him any more advice? He's getting married. Is it scary? I imagine, Jay, that you were quite the player. I imagine that. I'm
kind of waiting for the invite before I give Jay some more information here. Be nice.
No, you know what, Dan? I'm really low key when it comes to it. So I'm stoked about it. I just, it's all my other friends who aren't married who have gone through divorces, which makes you worried about it because when you try to get advice from them, they're like, "Oh God, don't do it. Are you sure? Yeah. You want to just take some more time for yourself?" I'm like, dude, I'm 36. How much more time for myself do I really need? I don't know.
Jay, have you lived with her at all?
That's what works.
Have you guys lived together at all?
Yeah, we've been living together for a while.
That's important. The reason Dan will attest to this. I have a very healthy marriage. She accepts me for what I am, which is a complete dirtbag. But she accepts me for that, Jay, for what I am. And I'm telling you, I lived with her for a year before we got married just to make sure that she could live with me. It wasn't me living with her. She could stomach me coming home to her apartment.
But it's funny what Jay...
And it's important to do, Jay, so I'm glad you did that.
What's funny about Jay, so you're asking your friends and they're all telling you not to do it?
Well, no. A lot of my friends have gone through divorces already, so they're tainted. You know what I mean, D? I think that's the problem. It's not they all love her. They think she's incredible.
Right.
I think it's about the perception of institutionalized marriage. That's the part they don't like.
Right.
You know what's funny, Jay? We had this conversation. How long ago was this? 10 years ago? Lamar Odom came on one time and just had a lot of relationship advice for us. There was somebody in our circle who everybody wanted to tell that, hey, you're making a mistake in getting married. And so we asked Lamar Odom's advice on that, and his response was, you get one of your boys one time to tell your friend the idea of, look, this group is not in line with the woman. And I know you're not saying that. I'm just saying that the last time, the amazing thing that happened after that, where the Kardashians take over the NBA and Lamar Odom spirals into horror after he gave us really wise advice. Listen to this.
Tell him one time.
And you tell him gently or you tell him strongly?
I'll be Lamar. Probably tell him exactly how I feel.
And you'd respect the friend who did that for you, correct? Because it's a tricky thing. When you love somebody, it's a tricky thing. You don't necessarily want to hear it from your boys.
100%, It's so funny because when you love somebody, you'll know if you love them because you don't need your boys that much. You can't live without that person.
So do you know, Jay? You can't live without that person. You don't need your boys so much anymore. There's your answer.
Yeah, I don't think it's a thing about needing my boys. I always want to have my boys around. I just also love my wife. I choose to do things differently.
I miss my boys so much, man. I miss my boys, man. Oh, man, do I miss my boys. And I'm glad we're taking advice from Lamar Odom.
The Lamar Odom. I don't know if that's the one I want to actually watch.
Oh, Jay, I would kill for a weekend with my boys, dude. Oh, my God.
Why wouldn't you take one?
I can't.
I don't have kids yet. I mean,
Jay, I can't.
How many kids do you have?
Well, Jay, I have 2 kids. That's not the problem. The kid's not the problem. I have no money left.
Yeah. Well, you got to ask Dan for a raise.
I mean, Mikey T, the Jets fan. I mean, me, him, Jeff Oak. I mean, God, the guy. I miss my boys, Jay. I miss my boys.
Jay, we will talk to you next time. How about next segment? Mike, I want to do some NBA. I do. I want to talk some NBA. Well, Jay Williams comes back next.
Dame más gasolina.
Seen those guys in forever, man. Used to come over every weekend, Dan. They used to hang out at the house. My wife's banned everyone. You know, all her friends come over whenever they want. My friends, never. Never allowed over the house. Mikey, too. I miss him. Hi, everyone. Stugotz here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you are confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you the same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you are getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz. That's rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz, STUGOTZ. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Dan Le Batard.
There's a belief that there's gold in the heads of bald men, so police in Mozambique are warning bald men.
Stugotz.
I'd cut my own head off if I were bald. See if there's gold in there. I like money.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
I love this Russell Westbrook quote. Ricky Rubio goes crazy the other night, and it was just great. He should have been riding around on a white horse as a telenovela character, shooting jump shots off a horse. Ricky Rubio was rugged and sexy and Latino in ways that you do not normally see in the NBA, and Westbrook's not here for it.
What led him to get so hot there?
He made some shots, too comfortable, but I'm going to shut that off next game, though. Guarantee that.
There you go.
And I believe him.
I believe him, too. Guillermo, put it on the poll. Do you believe him? I believe him, too. I believe that bleep will be shut off next game. I don't know what the bleep is, but it'll be shut off. If it's anywhere on Rubio's body, I believe it will not be turned on. We all believe that. But, man, Rubio got the night. Woo! He should have been dressed as a knight.
And he's made some really good decisions with his hair lately. I'm really feeling this new
he is just giving off, I care about my hair a great deal.
He's giving off a tennis player, is he not?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Does anyone in the league care more about their hair? Because you got that Elfrid Payton guy who goes to like some sort of gardener to have his hair done. Like somebody who trims those trees into animal shapes.
I can tell you J.J. Redick cares deeply about his hair.
Oh, that fade is always so clean.
Yeah,
always
clean.
Cleanest fade.
Who cares the most, though? Who's got
Rubio's getting up there. It's a good call on the tennis player because Ricky Rubio looks like he's going to dominate Roland Garros.
Really does, yes.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Does Ricky Rubio look like he's going to totally dominate Roland Garros? Roland Garros is a funny phrase. I'm not even sure why it's funny, but it is just to dismiss all of tennis with Roland Garros.
Because everyone else calls it the French Open.
Yeah.
Mike,
but us tennis zealots, we know.
Mike, I got to be honest with you. Mike, I got to be honest with you. This is literally the only thing I know about Roland Garros. I don't even know what it is. I just know it's a thing associated with tennis. I'm not kidding you that the phrase, I don't know what it means. I just know
that's a French Open.
Yeah. I know.
It's a clay surface.
I know, but what
Rafael Nadal's going to win again.
What does Roland Garros mean? Who is it?
It means the French Open.
No. So nobody knows what it means.
It means the red clay.
Is anyone else in this?
It means Nadal.
It means Nadal winning again.
Okay, very good. Regardless, Westbrook says he's going to shut that bleep off.
I'm pretty sure it's just the name of the site, by the way.
Yeah, probably.
I think it is, yeah.
I have no idea. Is mine a common confusion or am I alone? Because I am very afraid and vulnerable right now. Guillermo, put it on the poll, please. Do you know what Roland Garros actually is?
It's named after a French aviator, Roland Garros.
Okay, so it's a person.
Yeah. It sounds like a person, right?
Yeah.
I did not know what it was. Did you? Are you guys making me feel alone with my vulnerability right now? Everyone here knew that this was so?
Yeah.
That he's a French aviator, Dan.
There's been a recent trend where people just straight up call it Roland Garros now. We're not even referring to it as the French Open, which really sort of changes up the Grand Slam because they were always so easy. But I like this because it's the tennis purist in me. Roland Garros. That's what I like to call it because I'm a tennis nerd.
Good old Roland.
I call it the red clay.
So it's a French aviator, a famous French aviator.
Yeah, he was he fought in World War I. Yes, Roland Garros.
Okay, so none of you knew this then. None of you.
I didn't know that he was a French aviator.
None of you knew anything. Okay, you made me feel all alone there, like I was a real idiot.
I knew the clay was red. I mean, and Nadal dominates that thing.
You see the tear that he's on clay right now?
It's unbelievable.
He's back.
Yep, picking wedges.
With that oversized arm of his.
Nadal does these things where he goes away for like a year and a half because he's so riddled with injuries, and it just saves up for one more Roland Garros run.
Guillermo, put it on the poll, please, and all of you, Google the Google arm, the oversized arm of Nadal, because it's weird that we haven't covered this more, but the nature of tennis is such that one part of his body is totally deformed because he's working the muscles a lot more than the other side of his body. And so he's got an incredible Hulk arm, and everybody should be asking questions about this. Like his chiropractor, his doctors, tennis journalists, Roland Garros.
Don Le Batard.
The bifocal eyeglasses.
Stugotz.
Marcus Mariota. Growing up right in front of our eyes.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. The postponement of the Braves-Mets game yesterday is the 26th weather-related postponement, the most through the first month of the season. Former Michigan linebacker Elise Mbasi apologized for a string of threatening tweets towards his former head coach, Jim Harbaugh. And finally, according to the LA Times, Netflix is looking into buying movie theaters. Previous talks between Netflix and Landmark Theaters broke down after Netflix decided the price was too high. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Allison, at some point, can we talk to an expert on Netflix about what Netflix is doing? Because their content model is interesting, and I'm just curious. Netflix, the idea of how much television has changed in even the last 10 years, how we consume this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening so quickly and so crazily, and Netflix is just spilling money. I'm watching these movies with stars that I didn't know existed, that only exist in this Netflix world. They're beautifully shot. They are trying to make content outside of the movie theater business.
Right.
And I don't know how the hell the movie theater can survive in the digital climate. Like, you know how newspapers have been gobbled up and radio as technology is getting gobbled up, print has gotten gobbled up,
Sure.
Television is now getting gobbled up. How can the next thing not be movie theaters? Movie studios.
But why is Netflix looking into purchasing? There's still an attraction, Dan, of going with your friends or going with a date or going with your wife to the movie theater. There still is. Sitting in the seats, the big screen, get some popcorn, a soda. There's still an attraction to that, right?
Well, there are other companies that are trying to do memberships so you can pay a certain fixed price and go to a movie theater and watch all the movies that you want for that fixed price. Netflix already has the infrastructure and the brand name for something like this. So if they have Netflix branded movie theaters, you can do it as an add-on to your already existing Netflix membership, and they already have a huge base.
I'll tell you what, it's confusing. Are you not confused? Like, there's too much content out there. I can't keep up with it all. There's too many shows to watch, too many movies to watch.
I imagine that's happening with a lot of people because entertainment is where it always has been. The top 10% is better than it ever was. The bottom 10% is worse than it ever was. And the middle 80% is pretty bleeping mediocre. And so people are discerning and they're finding where it is they can find the top 10% that they want. They're finding their own television, much like they're making their own newspapers on Twitter, on social media. They're making their own journalism. That's what they're doing here. They're making their own entertainment center on their phones, on their iPads. And Netflix feels to me like they're a little bit far ahead on getting into this particular game where they're throwing money. They're Tesla of the entertainment world. Who's doing this more? Mike, please forgive my ignorance because I'm asking you these questions and I haven't researched any of this stuff. But who's throwing more money at the idea of all of this is changing, and if we own our own Game of Thrones, we don't need HBO anymore. Like, all of this is changing. We can be the studios. Weinstein's going down in flames. Every power that he had is going down in flames. How would literal capitalists not descend like prey on Hollywood right now to steal the content? They're already doing it with the actors. The actors want to go and do their own series someplace else where they can have creative control. Adam Sandler can have creative control over everything.
Right. Well, that's where you're seeing the rise of crowdfunding, because people need funding to get these projects made, and there's all sorts of agreements that you can get in return for funding, whether it's ownership of some sort or memorabilia or what have you. So there's still options out there, but the people that are still running things are the people with the money, and those are the big companies like Amazon, Netflix, and the big production companies.
Forgive me here. Stugotz's weekend observations are coming in 25 minutes, and Guillermo, right now, as Mike Ryan was talking, just what can only be called as the most cavernous yawn I've ever seen in my life, right in my face, suggests to me that perhaps I should change subjects. So, Stugotz and Mike Ryan were arguing during the break, and they were arguing about the draft. They were excited. They were fired up. And so I'm sorry for getting in the way.
Jesus, I just saw the yawn.
Yeah, it was bad.
We're on tape delay on television?
Bill, you didn't think you were on TV there, right? Because I was going to yawn too, but I know that there's a good chance.
All right, well, go back to give the people what they want. Go back to what
Netflix. I don't know what they're doing. I know they're losing money. That's what I know.
You and Mike arguing about the draft. Tell me what it is.
It's not so much that we're arguing about the draft as much as we're excited. It's draft week.
Yeah, we're sharing notes.
And I'm telling you, Adam Schefter is being strangely quiet. And when Schefter is quiet, big things are happening. You can take that to the bank. In fact, put that on the poll.
Well, he got busy
when Schefter is quiet, are big things happening?
Stugotz, he understandably got a little busy with the basketball beat.
He did, yeah.
He was covering that Jazz game.
Did sidelines, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, he's a man. He's a titan of the industry because he's the only one that does both.
Yeah. Well, you're right. But it's exciting, right? This is exciting. It's a couple of days away. It's a 3-night event. I mean, and there are so many quarterbacks. Dan, this is the part. I'm not going to be right till Thursday night until the Jets make their pick, because I am so confused. Everyone's lying. Smoke screens everywhere. I don't know who to believe, who not to believe. And the Jets, I would prefer if there were maybe 3 quarterbacks. There's like 7 in this draft.
And they could all be great, or they could all bust.
Right. I just want one to land to the new. I don't want the Jets to have to make decisions. That's what I'm most nervous about, because I don't trust the people who are making their decisions.
Oh, you're getting Baker Mayfield. You got to be so excited. Although maybe you thought Josh Allen was going to be off the board, but Peter King has a source that tells him, and this source, he qualifies it by saying, this guy's almost always right. Almost always right.
Is that what he said?
He said that the Browns are not going to take Josh Allen number 1 overall.
Wow.
So that opens up the possibilities for Josh Allen number 3. But we all think in this room that Baker Mayfield will be an excellent fit in New York.
Yeah. Right.
Think about it. He'd be a superstar over there.
So who are you thinking the Browns at number 1? I'm sorry?
I'm thinking Sam Darnold number 1 because you got Ty God Taylor.
Right.
And so obviously Sam Darnold's a player that needs to bake.
Right.
Take an off-season, learn the playbook. However, don't eat too much in this off-season, because he looks like he's one bad off-season away from being a weight concern. In fact, maybe you want to work in some of that into the contract. I'm just saying.
So, I mean, you go Darnold there because the Giants are interested in Darnold, right? That's been out there, although we don't know who to believe. We don't know who not to believe at this time of year. So you're saying you don't want to go Saquon Barkley, get your running back, and then just let the quarterback fall to you?
No, you got to pick the quarterback that you want. And keep in mind, Hugh Jackson, bit of a USC guy as well. So Sam Darnold is a clear pick, number 1. Number 2, who knows? They could go Saquon. They can go Chubb. They can go quarterback there.
Right.
We know Gettleman likes Eli Manning for some reason.
He does. I do wonder, man. Gettleman, he holds all the cards in this entire equation. He does. He holds all the cards. Gettleman holds the cards in this draft. He does
he? I feel like the Browns own all the cards because nobody knows what the Browns are doing just yet. Except for me, I told you, Sam Darnold,
Right.
Hugh Jackson, USC guy.
Right, Sam Darnold and maybe Saquon Barkley. If the Giants don't take Saquon Barkley, the Giants do take Saquon Barkley. Maybe the Browns take 2 quarterbacks. Wow, this is going to be exciting.
Saquon can slide down this draft board, even though many believe him to be the best player. It's crazy. It's crazy. And guess what? The Cardinals, they don't like Baker Mayfield. They love
Get out of here.
Baker Mayfield. That's according to Peter King.
Where do the Cardinals pick?
I don't know where the Cardinals pick.
See, and that's my other concern.
They got a quarterback in Sam Bradford, didn't they?
Right. My other concern is there are a lot of teams that like Baker Mayfield, and someone's going to hop ahead of the Jets to the Giants pick and take Baker Mayfield. That's my other concern.
Do you think Baker Mayfield has it?
He does have it, yes. The it factor is certainly there.
He certainly has it.
Guys, we'll figure out where everyone's going tomorrow when Greg Cody tells us his mock draft.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, the Cardinals pick at 15. I don't think the Cardinals, unless they're going to trade up.
But they have ammo.
What do they have?
Ammo.
They have ammo. It's a good point. Listen, ammo comes in all different forms, shapes, and sizes, and you don't need to be specific on ammo. Just know that the Cardinals have ammo. And that's it. Mike is right about that. I'm sorry for the follow-up.
Yeah. You know who doesn't have ammo? Seattle Seahawks. Which is why they probably need to trade down to get some ammo.
Yeah. Would you be upset if the Browns took 2 quarterbacks?
I would be.
Why?
Because that's stupid.
Right, but if you have 2 with Ty God, one of them has to be
right.
good.
They already have a quarterback on their roster, right? They were 0-16. They have 1 win over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So they're going to take not only one player that's not going to help them get better this season, they're going to take 2.
Yeah, in the effort to get that position right, yes.
Are you, now in talking it out, do you realize how stupid that would be?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
If you get 2 quarterbacks, that's some serious ammo, though.
Oh, yeah, but right. That's Mike. It's a good point.
No,
then you have ammunition.
Point. It's a fair point to
Then you have Mike.
It's a fair point.
Then you have ammo. I mean, 2 quarterbacks, you got ammo. Okay.
You, sir.
You trade Darnold because you know, sitting behind Ty God, he needs exercise or else that kid's going to blow up. So you trade Darnold, man. That's it.
Yeah, the face is round.
Right.
The face is round.
It's a round face, yeah.
Yeah. This is exciting, right? This is exciting.
Oh, I can't contain my excitement.
Right.
I can't. I don't even know if I'm going to make it to Thursday. I might just spontaneously combust.
I mean, the future of our 2 teams, the 2 worst teams in the NFL, Mike's a Browns fan, I'm a Jets fan. I mean, their futures, any questions you have about the long-term future of these 2 teams will be answered on Thursday, we think. You never know. Because it's really 2 years. It's 2 years. It's the questions we have will be answered in 2 years. Is that fair?
That's fair.
It's fair, right? 2 years?
Fair. Although with some people, right away.
Yeah. Right.
I want to draft a quarterback that I know right away.
Okay.
That one's good. Because if they come out, now I say this understanding Sam Darnold needs to bake, but if he comes out and is not very impressive right away, bust and less ammo.
Yeah.
Got to be honest with you guys. I did some research over the weekend.
Yeah.
I know with the Jets at, number 3, everyone's saying maybe it's Josh Allen now. Maybe it's Josh Rosen.
Well, Josh Allen obviously in play because of what we said, the guy that's always right.
Maybe it's Baker Mayfield.
Wow.
I'm just telling you.
Who do you want?
Okay.
I want Lamar Jackson.
You didn't even mention.
Dame más gasolina.
I'm not joking here. That's the quarterback I want.
One thing we can all agree on, though, eye test Saquon Barkley.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure. Flying colors.
Yeah, can't miss. Yeah.
But he may slide.
Uh-oh.
Only because he's a running back and that position isn't as valued as it once was.
I could see a crazy run on quarterbacks. Once one goes, then they realize all 7 have to go right after.
Yeah, that's why I like Lamar Jackson. Running back and quarterback. How about that?
Buffalo Wild Wings. The NFL draft is Thursday. Get your friends together at Buffalo Wild Wings. Find out if your team drafted a bust or drafted 2 quarterbacks.
You don't want to make the mistake of putting Lamar Jackson at a different position. You should know better.
I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that he can tote the rock.
Be careful.
Okay, you're right. Right.
Tell them more about Buffalo Wild Wings, Stugotz, where you could watch Lamar Jackson be drafted and possibly fall in the draft.
What if the Bills trade up?
Oh, that's my biggest fear.
Yeah, that's a huge fear for
you.
you.
They don't have a quarterback.
It's not a fear for me because I hold all the cards.
Yes, you do.
Gentlemen.
You're a card holder.
Everyone in the neighborhood knew about Bobby. Bobby, the basketball boy, they called him. Bobby wanted to go pro someday, so he was always out in the driveway shooting hoops. But one day, his mom came out and told him, Hey, your wife wants you to take out the trash? His mom was visiting, and Bobby was a grown man. He had kind of missed his window. Plus, no one had ever seen him actually make a basket. But on the other hand, Bobby had heard how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. So it was all good.
Don Le Batard.
Let's go back to Mel Kiper Jr.'s list of divas.
Number 2, definitely on my diva big board, is Whitney Houston. Definitely been going back and forth on this one throughout the process. Dan certainly has all the tools. You talk about an I Will Always Love You, arguably the greatest ballad of all time, but ultimately I couldn't escape the off-the-field concerns. Hanging around with a shady group. Dan, this has a lot of team executives a little nervous, a little gun-shy to pull the trigger on Whitney Houston.
He's dead!
That would be an off-the-field concern, Dan.
Stugotz.
Number 1, Beyonce Knowles, 5'7", 137 pounds, extremely confident in her abilities. Powerful voice, incredible agility, has proven she can be part of a team, but also go out on her own and win you a game. Astonishing lower body strength, too. She could probably squat a cement truck, Dano. Consider me a loud and proud member of the Beehive. She's overcome a lot of adversity, weak teammates, lack of roster continuity, pregnancies. Becky with the good hair displayed incredible resiliency. There's a reason she's bae.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
What were you doing other than your job
Draft week, man.
at the start of this segment? Other than your job, the microphones went on. Your job is to read the sponsor and then get us into the segment. What were you doing that didn't allow you to do that because you were so busy snickering with Mike Ryan?
Sean Payton said they had high grades on Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy G just, didn't fall into the right place for the Saints to take him. Someone researched that. Michael David Smith researched that, and he tweets out, Saints took Stanley Jean-Baptiste at 58 before the Patriots took Jimmy G at 62.
That's great. That's great.
Baptiste played 4 games for the Saints before they cut
That's
him.
right. These geniuses.
So there was a spot for him to do it, yes.
But Sean Payton knew better. Yeah, these geniuses. Sean Payton, who gets to be the quarterback whisperer for Drew Brees. Yes, he knows all.
Why is he talking so much lately? No one's hurt their brand more during this draft process than Sean Payton has lately.
He's trying to get a quarterback to replace Breeze. That's what he's doing.
He must be desperate because he's doing things out of character.
Well, but wouldn't you be desperate? Good Lord. I realize that I'm a control freak who doesn't have any actual control. Drew Brees is controlling everything. I call a play, and he either does it right or I fail.
Right, but if guys like Stugotz and myself know what's going on here, that he's just jockeying for a quarterback, then everyone else in that league, NFL 32, they know what's happening.
But he could have had the quarterback if he was, the oracle that he's made to be about quarterbacks. Garoppolo was there, but who'd they take?
Baptiste.
Yeah, what's the rest of his name?
No idea.
All right, are you familiar with Jean-Claude Baptiste? I don't remember his name because this person was not. Maybe I should.
I'm trying to find his name, but I've lost the tweet here. I had no idea you were going to go back to me on Baptiste.
That might be a fine right there.
Yeah. Well, do I owe some money here?
For blaming Dan.
I'm not blaming Dan. I just said no. I was just politely saying I didn't know you were to come back to me on the name of Baptiste. That's the reason I didn't know. Let me see if I can find the tweet again. Who was the guy's name I said who tweeted it out?
Michael David Smith.
That's
Let me
what
go
I
to
was
Mike.
asking.
Yeah, see what Michael says.
All right, we'll wait.
Michael David Smith. Found him. It is Stanley Jean-Baptiste. There's a dash between the Jean and the Baptiste. He played 4 games. Saints got him.
All right, so put it on the poll, Guillermo. Is Sean Payton a fool and a liar for saying that he was going to get Garoppolo, but instead getting Stanley Francois, whatever his name
Baptiste.
is.
Wouldn't it be pronounced Jean-Baptiste? Jean.
Perhaps. You think?
How can we not?
Stanley Jean-Baptiste?
Jean-Baptiste.
Mike, would you guys watch a network where just all these ridiculous things were called out in real time? Like where you're just watching a network of scrolling. Sean Payton said this. Here's why it's not true. Like, what is that show? There's a show there somewhere.
Twitter.
Yeah, I know, but what's the television show for ESPN? There is a show there on what? Who's doing that? Who's doing that at ESPN? So-and-so said this. Here's why it's bull bleep. Here are actual facts. so that Sean Payton, I mean, these guys keep parlaying this stuff, Stugotz. John Gruden parlayed it into the greatest job in broadcasting, and now he's out in Vegas doing Musburger things at $10 million a year.
I actually pitched an idea, just a segment, which was shot down, quickly, to ESPN. I pitched a segment about the 10 most ridiculous things said this past week at ESPN.
Oh, that's Mike. We've got to do that right there. We have to do that.
Gruden's still in Oakland.
Yeah.
It's a fun.
Where did I say he was?
You said he was in Vegas. They're not going to be there for a little bit.
Yeah, keep doing that. It's 2 years.
Wait a minute. Really?
Stugotz here for 1-800-Flowers. Being a mom is like 1,000 little jobs all wrapped into one amazing responsibility. I know this from watching my own wife, how crazy it is, switching back and forth from trauma nurse to afternoon mathematician, from organizer-in-chief to five-star chef. This Mother's Day, show her how much you appreciate every job she does with this special limited-time offer from 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, when you get ahead of the Mother's Day rush, 1-800-Flowers will give you an exclusive 36 for 36 offer, 36 sorbet roses for just $36. That's only $1 per rose. With an impressive mix of pastel shades in pink, orange, and lavender, these roses are guaranteed to make her smile. Stunning sorbet roses are the perfect way to surprise all the moms in your life. Wife, aunt, sister, mother. These breathtaking roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. 36 sorbet roses for only $36 is an amazing offer, but you need to hurry because it expires Friday. Just pick your delivery date and 1-800-Flowers will handle the rest. Don't put this off, guys. I'm telling you, order today from 1-800-Flowers.com. It's what mom would want you to do. To order 36 sorbet roses for only $36, simple. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code Dan. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code Dan. Hurry. Offer ends on Friday.
Dan Le Batard.
Give us as much as you can here. Take us up to the dramatic first pitch, Billy.
Jose Ureña standing at the back of the mound. He reaches down. He's rubbing some dirt and rosin on his hand. And here we go.
Stugotz.
And the pitch. Oh, God, a home run on the first pitch of the game. Oh, my God.
Welcome, Derek Jeter. And that concludes our Marlins coverage for the season.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. We love Ernie Johnson. Who doesn't love Ernie Johnson? He's going to join us here in just a minute.
Isn't that the truth? Put that on the poll, Guillermo. Who doesn't love Ernie Johnson? That's absolutely right.
Yep. He is the best, and he's going to join us here in just a second on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. Joel Embiid is doubtful for Game 3 of the Sixers Heat series. Eltor Messina will coach the Spurs for Game 3 as Greg Popovich goes on bereavement leave. And finally, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration announced its approval last week of the 5 Ever Transition contact lenses. The contact lenses will automatically adjust to brightness. That is amazing. That's technology right there. Seriously. You hear about that? Contact lenses that will automatically adjust to brightness. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
5 ever? You mean first ever?
What did I say?
You said 5 ever.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move it on here. We are critics. We are not readers. We are not sophisticates. What?
I mean, listen, I'm getting thrown off here because rather than rewriting stories, now I'm going to get fined. We're just crossing them out and rewriting them in pen. I mean, and it's throwing me off. It's confusing me.
Right, $2 for blaming others for the mistake of yours. Ernie Johnson, we'll get to that in a second. I do want to get to the secrets of how it is you become likable when you're Ernie Johnson. That's not allowed. We hate Joe Buck. Like, we hate these people. Why does Ernie Johnson get to be beloved? And so before we do that, though, Utah beat OKC last night. Quinn Snyder broke it down with the only analysis you needed. That series is now tied 1-1, and Quinn Snyder, who very much looks like a villain in a movie that's going to foil your superhero, or maybe, he's just a villain. This is what he had to say to analyze that game.
We've said the strength of our team is our team.
Thank you, Quinn. So Ernie Johnson joins us now. TNT's live coverage continues tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, with a pair of Game 3s, 76ers Heat, followed by Warriors Spurs. Thank you, as always, for making time for us. Ernie, how do you stay so lovable? I'm not even kidding. Like, you're not allowed.
Come on,
no,
Ernie,
it's
stop.
weird. It's weird. The gas bag business, we're polarizing. People hate us. We have political views. We're weird. We're insecure. How do you get to be the beloved one?
Who has anointed me the beloved one?
Mike just did.
I don't know. Thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate that. And let me say, too, thank you for having me on, because it's been a while. I was on promoting the book on Highly Questionable last year with you, but it's been a while since I've been on the show, so thank you so much for having me. You guys have given me a lot of enjoyment on my drive down to the studio from lovely Brazelton, Georgia.
Well, that's how, Ernie. You're polite.
See, that's what he just did. He didn't really answer my question, but he did without answer. Oh, Pshaw, I'm not beloved. Let me compliment you back with all my politeness, and you will see how I trick everyone into liking me.
No, look, you just stop. You're making me very uncomfortable with that line of questioning. So I think it's longevity. When you've been around, when you've been sitting in the chair for 28 seasons now, this is my 28th playoff on the NBA on TNT, then I think that has, if you haven't been thrown out by then obviously somebody thinks you're worth keeping.
Well, but wait a minute, though. Seriously, though, Ernie, because you come from a different broadcasting time. Your father, was a broadcaster, and we've been talking about this around here. The idea that Vin Scully, the day of Vin Scully is dead, that 2018, you're not allowed to be the beloved broadcaster anymore, that too many people have opinions. So while I'm making you uncomfortable with the questioning, have you seen that you're a bit of a dying breed, that the broadcaster who is simply beloved, that there's not a lot of that exists anymore?
Well, this whole, you guys, Dan, this whole line of questioning is just kind of is kind of just silly to me. So
Whoa, Ernie, I'm sorry. Ernie, you didn't have to raise your voice. Ernie, you didn't have to get aggressive.
All I've been trying
Ernie, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you and ruin it with this rage you have.
No, all I've been trying to do for 28 years is do the job and realize how lucky I am to do the job, and it's great. And I've learned all that. Look, I learned all that from my dad, who never thought he was special because he had a job that everybody else wanted. And so
that's another thing you do. That's another thing you do.
I'm working with these great folks, and it is just I realize journalism schools are full of guys who think they can do the job better than I can and would love to jump in there right now, but I'm not ready to give the seat up.
Oh,
yeah, there we go.
A little extra ego at the end. Who's trying to take your stuff? Like you get to retire the way Brady does. No, like you do it on your own terms.
Everybody out there would love to be sitting where I'm sitting and talking hoops with Charles and Kenny and Shaq on a nightly basis. They all want to do it, but I'm the guy lucky enough to be doing it.
Ernie, on a serious note, I guess a more serious note here, can you walk us through your thoughts last night? Because there's been a lot of discussion this morning and last night, I guess, after the game, about Allie LaForce and how she handled that interview with LeBron after the game.
This was interesting. You're a nice guy, Ernie. Nice, and I winced when I heard the question, which doesn't make the question wrong.
And Ernie, I thought you were great. Ernie, I thought you were great when they threw it back to the studio and you clarified some of the questions that people had. Just take us through that, and then take us through your thoughts on LeBron doing what he did, taking some of the heat off Allie LaForce there.
No, I think that she did exactly what you're supposed to do in a situation like that. Allie's a great reporter, and so before that live interview went on, before the production truck said, "Go, you're on," she had mentioned to LeBron and said, "Hey, look, here's what happened with Greg Popovich's wife. Are you comfortable talking about that?" And he said yes. So. Look, she would never blindside LeBron with something like that, and no good reporter would ever do that to a player, and especially knowing the relationship that LeBron has with Pop and the mutual respect they have for one another, and so you're not going to put a guy in that situation. And so she did everything right. And I could see, Dan, I watched earlier today and you said, yeah, I kind of winced when that happened. But I thought it was kind of necessary as it went on to see social media's reaction to say, hey, everybody calm down. Okay. LeBron was told beforehand. It wasn't like he was ambushed with the question. And so, and I salute LeBron too for coming to Allie's defense later after seeing that, there was kind of like an online attack on the question being asked. this is not a question in my mind, guys, too. Look, if Jordan Clarkson had had a 30-point game, Allie's not going to ask Jordan Clarkson about the Pop thing. But this is, look, you've got an iconic figure, LeBron James, who had this huge game. You've got, Greg Popovich, another icon in the game. And so the question was appropriate, and it was done the right way without saying, hey, I got you with this question.
I have some other questions about that, though. Again, Ernie Johnson is fundamentally a decent man. He's an elder statesman. He is courtesy personified, okay? TNT's live coverage continues tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, with a pair of Game 3s, 76ers Heat, followed by Warriors Spurs. I'm curious just how you navigate, though, this part of it, because are there a lot of other wives? I did not know Greg Popovich's wife. You guys introduced me to her last night, and you introduced me to the suffering, and the connection point was a man losing the woman he loves. We can all sort of, or the partner he loves, we can all understand that. I'm curious, though, how many other figures would get that exactly? Because I did not know who this woman was, and you guys made me care about her. How many other figures like this would get their wife has passed away, let's do a tribute about the wife, even though none of us in the sports community might know the wife?
Yeah, it was, I think that you take a situation like that. It's the same way, too, to me, Dan, when one of the NBA, you get word that an NBA player from years past has passed, and you want to recognize that. The question is, how much emphasis is on. And I think when you take a look at Pop and all the championships and the iconic figure he is, and San Antonio's still in the midst of the playoffs right now, and so this is all happening here. And I think for all the admiration that we have for Pop, there's also a time where you empathize with him, and I think this is where that happens. And for me, everybody was talking about, we know him as a coach, we know him as this kind of a classy guy, and we know him this way. And for me, it was all really kind of brought home when I heard Reggie Miller and Kevin Harlan, as they were signing off the game last night, saying, the last time we sat down with Pop before a game, first thing he did before he talked about the game at all was, show a text message or a photo he had on his phone from one of his grandkids saying, good luck, Pop, and that kind of thing. And that's what hit home with me, is that you're sitting here, I've been married 35 years, got 3 grandkids, and one of the great joys in life as you get older is being able to watch those kids grow up, watch your kids be kids. And I thought about Pop, and I'm saying he's going to have to go that road solo now. And that's sad. And when we feel for you, we know that everybody who watches NBA hoops knows Greg Popovich or feels like they know him. And tonight we're hurting with you. And so I think that's kind of what goes into it. That's why it gets the treatment that it does, because he is so well known and so well respected.
Again, TNT's live coverage continues tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, with a pair of Game 3 76ers Heat, followed by Warriors Spurs. Just real quick, because we've got to let you go, are there other people respected like that in your sport? Like, can you name them? Because I can't imagine a lot of people getting exactly what happened last night. Off the top of your head, not to press you on this,
David
Ernie,
Riley or
but
something?
you understand the question I'm asking, right? A basketball figure of some historic importance in real time, such historic importance in real time that we, the sports community, grieve the passing of someone we did not know on his behalf.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's, I think when you think about the legends of the sport and you think of Magic and Kareem and guys, people who aren't playing anymore, certainly. But I hate to just put myself in that situation of saying, let's imagine somebody who has a death in the family. I don't want to do that. But certainly, I think we all know that there were certain guys out there who, when you hear their name, you say, oh, that's, I think people who relate to him are going to want to, share their mourning with him. And I think that was the situation with Pop last night.
He is the best, Ernie Johnson Jr. He's beloved. He really is. And whether he likes it or not, too bad. Too bad, beloved guy. You're beloved. So thank you for being on with us, and thank you for so many years being at the center of the best studio show there is.
Guys, I love your show. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and keep watching our playoff stuff, man. We appreciate it.
All right. Sorry we made it awkward, man.
Yeah.
No, come on, man. It's just I'm the awkward one.
No, I am. No, trust me on this.
Listen, I was covering up. I mean, I had nothing to do with it, Ernie. It was all Dan.
Ernie, trust me on this. This was not your fault.
It's Dan.
Yes, it's very much me.
And guys, don't show that nose again, okay? Please.
Okay, yes, it was disgusting. Thank you.
Point.
How about that intro for Ernie Johnson? How about that intro? Disgusting, vomiting, woman removes her nose. Okay, good television.
Awkward transition. Time for some ads.
Do we do any other kind? As baseball season continues, watch your favorite team climb up the standings this season at Buffalo Wild Wings. You can enjoy the great food and beer as the runs pile up, unless Giancarlo Stanton is batting.
Here it happened. Here it happened. The Yankees signed Adam Lind.
What does that mean, though?
That's a power bat.
Okay, that doesn't mean anything. It just means Stugotz had some information that he wanted to use.
That's it. Hi, everyone. Stugotz here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz, STUGOTZ, equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Dan Le Batard.
Oscar Robinson had 41 triple-doubles back in 61-62. 41.
Stugotz.
It's Robertson, but...
Big O.
Okay, but...
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Look, man, I know we make a joke out of everything, but just so that you understand what was happening there with Ernie Johnson and my ridiculous, sometimes awkward form of questioning when it comes to what happened last night, and real human suffering, real grieving among famous people that's emotional. I am not mocking any of that. While I was watching it, I was saying, wow, what a fitting tribute for the legacy of Greg Popovich within this sport, that the passing of a loved one for him would be felt by the sport.
Of course.
Whether they know the loved one or not. And I just don't know a lot of people in that sport who command that kind of respect, or sports in general for that matter, who would command that the kind of respect, the kind where America will stop its criticizing of your politics, of your record, of your coaching decisions, and the bridge between all humanity will connect us, and you will look at Greg Popovich and you will hurt for him because you respect so much the thing that he is, even as we complain about his TV interviews and whether he's a jerk and whether he's curt or anything else. Like, I find interesting that there are not a lot of people in the history of sports who would command the kind of familial sports grieving for not their passing, but just for their suffering. It's a tremendous tribute to the man and his impact on the sport.
It was nice to see. It was also surprising to see because it doesn't happen all the time. It wouldn't happen for everyone in sports. It was really nice to see.
But this is partially like Monty Williams lost his whole family and the sport was grieving, and we didn't cover the way we covered it for Popovich last night. Like, Monty Williams lost his whole family. Brian Shaw lost his whole family as a player in a car accident. Like, this is a level of respect we don't extend it to everybody. We extend that level of respect to very few. I haven't seen a whole lot that we've done that with. So I don't mean to turn any of that into something that's either maudlin or a joke. I'm just telling you how I experienced all of that last night in real time, whereas I winced at the question and asked, why is it here in the real world sports where LeBron is having fun in games 46 and being LeBron? How did that arrive here? This literal life and death where they're celebrating on the TNT show. They're celebrating did Rodney Hood's family have kids? Twins? They were celebrating literal life and death, a birth and then a death. It's not something that I'm used to having that close. Real life and death. We're always pretending that sports are life and death, right?
Yes.
Where real life and death is making an appearance, and you've got the TNT studio show, which is the funniest in the history of studio shows in sports. Has won more Emmys. Charles Barkley is better at this than all of we people at ESPN who have trained in it all our lives. He just got in front of a microphone, and his show is better than anything we've ever done. That show, known as Funny, stopped last night to mourn and explain to us who a woman was and what a man has meant to that sport.
Yeah, it was touching. I know you said that you winced when Allie asked that question. Once you realized that they had discussed it and she told LeBron she was going to ask it, LeBron said yes. Were you okay with it? Because I thought when she asked it, I'm sitting there going, wow, I know how much LeBron loves Pop, respects Pop. And I'm interested to hear what his response is going to be to this. And I thought LeBron was great.
The reason that it was specifically jarring to me is because LeBron was somehow great at the height of greatness. He's the most famous athlete in sports, and last night he showed you why. Most famous athlete in American sports, and last night against the poor Pacers and Victor Oladipo, who looked good in game one, he showed you who he is and what he is and how he is. And then in the interview afterward, that athlete was asked something that surprised me because I'm just used to the mythologizing of let's celebrate how great he is for 46 points and give me the cliches about how the crowd motivated you and it meant to your city and your teammates and you imposed your will. And in the middle of that, they make the man cry. In the middle of that, they ask him a question that makes him cry. The whole juxtaposition, I'm sorry if I've handled it awkwardly, but the whole juxtaposition of it was jarring in a way that emotionally, while I'm watching it, I'm both wincing and not understanding it.
Right. I mean, he appears to be like unlike anything we've ever seen on the court, and then he gets off the court in that moment, and it humanizes him.
Who does not think that LeBron James was better off the court last night, that he was better on the court somehow by bailing out a reporter who asked him a wins question, bailing her out, and then with the genuine emotion of hurting on behalf of Greg Popovich, and then the next thing he does is goes to the uninterrupted and says, everyone back off of her, no problem with the question. Like,
it's a good dude, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I don't know if he's a good dude for that singular act any more than he's a terrible dude for his terrible acts. I'm just saying that's pretty cool that he would use the power that way. Barry Melrose next.
Don Le Batard.
Is there any job in sports scarier than kick returner?
I would put hockey goalie in the conversation.
Sport's crazy, man.
It is crazy.
They're skating on knives.
That's right.
They have weapons
let's talk
in their
about
hands.
this. You're absolutely right. Let's talk about this for a second.
Stugotz.
We're going to look back in 100 years and be like, what the hell were we doing with hockey? They were skating on swords. And every once in a while, a guy got cut near the jugular.
We're out here upset that they're fighting in between. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Fight is it's a vacation. It's a tropical vacation.
You should be thankful that they're not using those swords they're skating on.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
At Le Batard Show is where you go if you want to vote on the polls. We have misplaced Barry Melrose. So when we find him, we will shake him off, clean him up. He'll look the same, and we will talk to him. But before we get to the polls, we have Zlatan news. Zlatan is becoming a fan favorite around here because he's arrogant. He's got a hair bun, ponytail. He is publicly arrogant in a way that is charming. We normally don't allow athletes to be that. Conor McGregor is taking the turn from arrogant and charming to fighting buses. Zlatan remains lovable in this country. So what is it that we have, Mike, that's Zlatan related here? Because our show has become a bit obsessed with him. He put out that ad when coming to MLS. MLS very popular with young people, very loud, very fun. He's 36 years old. He's coming off of a leg injury. And he greets MLS by taking out a full-page ad in the LA Times in which he says, "You're welcome. You're welcome that the Zlatan is here." And then his first act as the Zlatan is just an absurd goal from 40 yards away that if it had been done by an actual wizard with an Aladdin's lamp of some sort, you would have been less surprised.
We have a couple Zlatan things. He joined Dan Patrick earlier.
Oh.
Yeah, we're still working on getting him, though.
Minute.
We don't have that audio, but he was asked about the current state of soccer in the U.S. and the U.S.'s development of...
I want to talk to the Zlatan. Why did Dan Patrick get the Zlatan before we got the Zlatan?
Well, he said, I have my wife. I have my 2 kids. If I was single, I would spread my investment here in the United States, and you would have future legends in soccer. But I'm sorry, I'm already occupied with my wife and kids. So close to having a great soccer nation.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Can we talk him out of this? We could be a soccer nation if we just allow him. What did he call it?
Spread his investment.
Spread his investment.
He also joined Jimmy Kimmel earlier in the week.
What?
Yeah.
Everybody's getting the Zlatan now.
Well, not us yet.
Not everybody.
How's Allison feeling?
Right.
Couple of years, I had my eyes on Los Angeles.
You have?
and I wanted to give them a gift, and I was like, and it was you. I was thinking a long time, and then one day it came like, I should give myself. That's why it came up, and you're welcome.
Yes, and of course, Zlatan gave the gift of himself to Los Angeles in a way that tickled the American funny man.
You don't, and maybe this is just some weird preconceived notion, but you don't strike me as quintessentially Swedish. I know you are Swedish, but Swedes are not braggadocious in general, yes?
They're too nice. I'm not so nice like that.
Is that why you were asked to leave the country?
No. No. I mean, I'm not the typical Swedish guy, but I put Sweden on the map, so...
Yes, of course. There he is. The Stugotz is strong in him. There it is. Sweden before me. It wasn't on a map.
I honestly couldn't find Sweden.
That's right. Guillermo, put it on the poll. Before Zlatan, could you have found Sweden on a map? Go ahead and put that somewhere on the poll. You have more Zlatan sound, Mike? You have more Zlatan sound.
Do you worry at all that your teammates will be will feel like they're in your shadow? They will be offended by your confidence and by all the attention that you get.
No. I make them superstars just like I make you.
No. Wait a minute, Mike. I love his no. To go with to go with Liam Neeson's no. Hold on a second. Hold on. Play that again. Just play all of that again so that I can hear Zlatan saying no.
Do you worry at all that your teammates will be will feel like they're in your shadow? They will be offended by your confidence and by all the attention that you get.
No. I make them superstars just like I make you.
So beautiful. The accent, the face, the thighs, the repaired leg, the hairy repaired leg of Golden Fortune. So let's weave together his no with the most famous no in the history of the show, which belongs to the star of Taken, oddly, Liam Neeson. This is one of the greatest. This is the clip of the year, correct, Stugotz? This year, with the Me Too movement, with everything, this so far is the audio clip of the year.
Well, I think we did it as a Stugotz of the day, and then we said that any other Stugotz of the day had to beat this Stugotz of the day because this is Stugotz at its finest right here.
So this is courtesy of the AP and Liam Neeson, the star of Taken. He's an older white gentleman that became an action star late in life, and he you could say he's been someone who has gotten a lot of male privilege, and so he took up the social cause of women where they should be equal, they should get equal money, but this is what happened, and you could not have written something funnier in fiction.
There's a lot of discussion about it, and a lot of healthy and necessary discussion about it, because the disparity sometimes is disgraceful.
How do you think we can move past that?
We're starting, and it has to start, and it's starting with these extraordinary actresses and brave ladies, and we as men have got to be part of it. We started it, so we have to be part of the solution.
So would you take a pay cut to kind of equal things out?
No. Pay cut? No. That's going too far. No, there has to be parity. There just has to be.
And he is doing that with no sense of irony is amazing.
Maybe you just think you're going to contemplate it.
Right, no, but what do you want? Equality? What? No, I was just talking about it. I didn't mean it.
No. Pay cut? No. That's going too far.
What are you talking about? They can have money in general, not my money.
No. Pay cut? No. That's going too far.
No. Take it out of that, Jolie's contract, not mine.
No.
Everyone in the neighborhood knew about Bobby. Bobby, the basketball boy, they called him. Bobby wanted to go pro someday, so he was always out in the driveway shooting hoops. But one day, his mom came out and told him,
"Hey, your wife wants you to take out the trash?"
His mom was visiting, and Bobby was a grown man. He had kind of missed his window. Plus, no one had ever seen him actually make a basket. But on the other hand, Bobby had heard how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. So, it was all good.
Don Batard.
I know what you like, and I give it to you to make you a junkie so that you're listening and you can't help yourself on the stuff that I got to force feed you. But I know what you like, and I'll give it to you sparingly just to get you addicted.
Stugotz.
You'll stay right there addicted. And every once in a while, I'll give you smack that you don't like, but that you need. It's medicine you need. It's the whole formula. We know what you like. It's why you're addicted, even though you hate that part of the show.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Oh, bummer. I thought you were going to come back with another Liam Neeson no thumper. I thought you were going to come back with another one. Too much?
We were fighting about Titanic, actually.
Yeah, big fight.
Yeah, because Chris Cody and I, we love Titanic. We went to the movie theater multiple times. It was a cinematic adventure. You have to remember what movies looked like back then. This budget, it was incredible. Such an escape. Billy's never even seen it.
The worst movie in the history of time.
Yeah.
The worst. Maybe as bad as that weird movie with the Wizard of Oz, and maybe up there with that.
The Wizard of Oz?
That's the worst.
Did you just dismiss the Wizard of Oz
terrible.
as if it wasn't decades, not years, decades ahead of its time?
It's a bad movie. Listen, I'm telling you, Billy, you don't need to go see it. There's a big boat. It hits an iceberg. It sinks. Just about everyone dies except for a lady and a piece of balsa wood. That's it.
There's so much
and
more.
she's selfish, by the way.
Did you just boil down Titanic to history?
I'm a child.
Like, spoiler alert, one of the smoke towers falls on Danny Nucci.
What?
Yeah, who, by the way, I found out is like from Slovenia or somewhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was an
It
upset.
just seems like it's 3 hours long, and I know now how it ends, and it's like, what's the point of watching? I'm not going to sit down for 3 hours and watch it.
It's about the journey.
What's the payoff?
What's the payoff? Is the love story.
I mean, it's a terrible ending. There's no happy ending.
No, it is a happy ending because, spoiler alert, they're reunited in the afterlife.
Yes.
Which, by the way, again, we've addressed this. I feel really bad for Kate Winslet's husband, who actually had kids with her and lived as her husband, because when she goes to heaven, she just goes straight to Jack.
All right.
It sounds like it's a terrible message.
No, because
like she's having an affair on her husband and she has kids, and then they die together, and she's with this guy that she's known for like 2 days.
No,
why is this a beautiful love story?
Let's be clear. She had an affair on Billy Zane, who she did not want to marry, who was mean.
Right.
So she didn't have an affair on.
Hey, you can't fault her for that.
No.
Wait a minute. So when does she get married? After Titanic's done, she marries and has kids?
She remarries and has kids because...
And she's going to be with some dude she's known for 5 minutes in heaven?
Billy,
it's ridiculous.
She's following Jack's wishes, because when he was on the plank of wood, he said, you're going to get old, and you're going to have babies, and you're going to die an old lady warm in her bed. And guess what? Prophecy fulfilled.
I think she moved on from Jack.
No. She was just marrying somebody else because Jack said that was his dying wish, and so she probably didn't even love that guy, really.
She loved Jack, who she knew for 5 minutes more than she loved her husband and her kids.
It was
it's Billy Zane, though. I mean,
it was,
I'm a child.
It was 5 passionate minutes.
Did she marry Billy Zane, or this is someone else?
No. She was basically promised to Billy Zane.
Where was Billy Zane when this boat was sinking?
He had a child. He pretended he had a child so he could get on one of the boats with women and children first, because Billy Zane in this movie, coward.
Wow.
Coward with a really bad hair.
But he left her behind?
3.5 hours.
Well, she was cheating on him.
Yeah, she was cheating.
I don't get the story.
He was like, Rose, come on, let's go, Rose. And Rose shook him off like, no, Billy Zane, I'm going with Jack.
I'm a child.
Right.
The children were on the ship then. And she's cheating on her husband and children.
There's no children.
Jack.
The only children that are on the ship are the ones that Billy Zane takes.
I'm a child.
Are those his children or not his children?
He takes someone else's kid.
He kidnapped someone
to make it appear like he has a kid. Yeah.
See, now you're
Where are the parents of that child?
Who knows?
But Bill, listen, the Titanic was sinking. I mean, it was a free for all.
Yeah.
Did he raise those children after this was done?
I'm a child.
Probably not. However, there was a really frosty moment where Billy Zane obviously survived the Titanic, and he was looking around for Rose, and Rose was wearing Jack's coat, and she put it over, like, oh, don't see me. They were so close to seeing. Who knows? Maybe they would have patched things up and had kids of their own.
What happened to the child, though, at that point?
That's what I'm saying. Where's this kid?
One of the few loose ends James Cameron allowed.
What do you imagine happened? I mean, think of it. It's Billy Zane. He's a bad guy in the movie. It's a fake kid. It's not his.
But is he the bad guy? She sounds like the bad guy here. She's cheating on him.
Billy Zane's the bad guy. What do you think he did with that kid?
What makes Billy Zane the bad guy? I feel he seems like the victim to me. I mean, granted, I've never seen the movie. He seems like he's the victim of this affair, literally.
Didn't he slap Rose once?
Yes.
That's when we established, like, okay, this guy's
bad guy. He hit her.
And also, he was just mean to Jack. Like, oh, you don't.
I'd be mean to Jack too.
Well,
he's sleeping with my girlfriend.
Well, you know what?
but it's not his
gonna be
girlfriend.
friends with him.
Billy, this is a forced relationship, okay?
Yeah, she doesn't want to.
Rose didn't want to be with Billy Zane.
Break up.
They were forcing Rose to be with Billy Zane.
Who's forcing her?
Well, her parents, because they were actually going broke. They got used to this very lavish lifestyle. But Kathy Bates, who was New Money, she exposed all of this because she was calling people out, and she knew Rose's true feelings. And when Jack didn't know which fork to use,
what did Kathy Bates do?
She was just New Money. She was like this. I don't know, like.
But she's just a random person on the boat.
But she was New Money. She was New Money. New Money.
Yeah. Where did Billy Zane's money come from?
Well, he's old money for sure. We don't really know. Do we know where Billy?
I'm a child.
They mentioned it.
Trust fund, I think.
Probably.
Trust fund. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
See, but you know what? Billy points out something interesting. Like, history won't remember this the same way. Remember when Macho Man Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan fought over Miss Elizabeth? And the Mega Powers collided? Yeah. As little kids, we were led to believe that Macho Man was wrong. But you watch that stuff back, Hulk Hogan is totally moving in on Macho Man's lady. Macho Man is well within his means to be upset at Hulk Hogan. I don't know why Hulk Hogan all of a sudden was a good guy in that exchange.
It just seems like affairs sometimes are okay if you like the people committing the adultery, which is ridiculous.
It's arbitrary morality.
We're sending the wrong message to children.
Absolutely. But you know what? It was a different time. Not just in the 90s when the movie was released, but during the time of Titanic.
I put the diamond in the coat. I put the coat on her.
Wait, there's diamonds involved? There's a heist?
Oh, see, that's
diamonds. That's the whole thing.
Billy, not just a diamond. The heart of the ocean.
What does that mean?
It is the diamond.
Yes.
It is the diamond, and a nice little twist, because you think the heart of the ocean is lost on the Titanic, but remember this coat that I told you? Jack's coat that she was wearing to keep warm? Guess what was in the pocket? Heart of the ocean.
Oh, really?
Who put it in there?
Wow.
I think Jack.
Whose diamond was this? Billy Zane stole the diamond?
It was in Billy Zane's possession, and I think he was just so rich enough that he had the heart of the ocean because
he was just rich.
Yeah,
he was just rich.
Why would she cheat on him with this?
Real love. This is real love.
Well, Jack was the other guy's name.
Yeah,
what did he provide?
Nothing.
He brought nothing to the table.
Real love. Yeah, real love. True love.
A bohemian spirit. A bohemian spirit. He was an artiste. He knew how to paint French girls, and she said, "Paint me like one of your French girls." And she got naked, and he painted her, and then they steamed out a car from passionate lovemaking. So it was like, even though it was kind of because they transported cars. That's how they would do it because there were
cars were on the Titanic.
This was the primary mode of transportation. The Titanic.
Do you guys? I always had. I'd be interested in your thoughts on this. Do you really think the band kept playing as the boat was sinking?
Oh, that's proven in history.
What do you mean it's been proven?
That's the truest thing. That's the truest part of Titanic.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb.
No, well, the captain actually went down with the ship too. You know what?
No, captain was to blame.
Well,
let's
he was
be real.
Blame, but you know what? He took his medicine. He could have gotten off, but no, captain goes down with the ship. I appreciated that. It was a different time back then.
Well, he's stupid.
It was a different time back then. Probably a better time.
I blame the guys that were yapping while they were supposed to be looking ahead. They're just having this conversation. It's like, you're supposed to be watching for icebergs.
And then iceberg right ahead. You could have heard about this 5 seconds ago, you guys.